Jackson Swain, touchdown.
It's time. It's time. It's Swain Event time.
My man.
It is time for the Swain Event, fueled by Dad and Barbecue. This is real sports talk for the real sports fan. Talk to him, Swain.
Give it to his house and a Ric Flair.
Swain Event, SwainEvent.com, fueled by Dad and Barbecue, live from the Low T Center studio. I am Jason Swain. Hope you are having a fabulous Tuesday, July 29th, joined by my good friend, little brother, Ben McKee, Go Vols 247. He is ready to go. It is fall camp time. I guess we can say it has officially started since today is the day that we hear from Josh Heupel. Tomorrow is the first day of practice. Ben McKee, good morning, sir. Good to see you. Looking good.
Good morning, friend. I appreciate that. Hope you're doing well. Hope you enjoyed your birthday on Sunday. Hope you felt the love. I saw a lot of it on social media, which always makes me happy to see you getting love. So excited that it's football season, ready to get going. There's always a little extra pep in the step at the beginning of the week in which fall camp begins. And media day today, we're going to talk to Josh Heupel, both coordinators, all the quarterbacks, Jeremiah Thielander, Dominic Bailey, I think Jackson Moy, Ricky Gibson III, which should be interesting after his spring debacle.
Huh? What was a debacle?
I mean, we spent as much time on that as we did the Boo Carter stuff last week. So
No.
We spent a lot of time on it.
I
Totally
spent time
different
on Boo Carter.
situations.
Way too much time on Boo Carter.
Yes, two totally different situations, obviously, but still, it's Ricky's first time speaking since, or at least maybe he did speak after. I don't even know what we're calling that, but after maybe he was looking for a new deal or whatever that was.
Ben, what we know about what's happened in the last couple of weeks of Boo Carter, do we blame Ricky Gibson for what happened, him trying to get his money?
Had he already gotten a new deal when he was trying to get more money?
Ben, do we blame Ricky Gibson for being in the same room as Boo Carter, seeing how Boo Carter has moved, and wanting a new deal after Boo Carter got his deal? Do we?
No.
Okay, I'm just saying, man. Let's be fair to the Bama boy, Ricky Gibson.
Yeah,
now.
but I don't know. It's also hard for me not to apply life to the situation as well. I mean, if Go Vols 24/7 were to come in a month after me and hire somebody who does the same thing that I do and give them $10,000 more, I mean, yeah, it's going to bother me, but am I going to hold out? And now I realize Ricky Gibson is a lot more valuable to Tennessee football than I am to Go Vols 24/7. I realize we are in different walks of life, but like that's also part of life, right? Like sometimes people get better deals after you've already negotiated your deal. I mean, look at Ronald Acuna and the Braves. I mean, the Braves have him on a huge discount. Part of that can just kind of be part of sports.
There's no rules.
But I hear you.
There's no rules. So why not?
I'm not trying to get us off track this morning.
That's all good. It's all good. Yeah, there's no rules, Ben. So why not? Because if you don't correct it, dude, you're gonna have this sense of resentment in your pit of your stomach every time you look over and you doing the right thing, but other guys are not. Like, you're gonna get resentful, and so it's just best to go ahead and fix it. I know, hey, you agreed to a deal, but there's no rules in place to where you can't go back and double back. And so
I hear you. Yeah. But he also did that after Jamal McCoy's injury too. So that that was a little like I get it.
I'm just saying.
Your value goes up. There's no doubt about
I
that
feel you.
in that situation. But like again, not the end of the world, and not at all the same situation as Boo. But the point being, like I believe he's gonna talk for the first time. I can't remember if he spoke in the spring.
Well, he needs to.
After, yeah, I mean he should be one of the team's leaders. He's going to be counted on quite a bit the first month of the season. I mean, he's really going to have to play great football the first month of the season. So I'm excited to talk to Ricky. I enjoyed talking to Ricky last year. He did media day as well as a sophomore. He has a really fun personality. I enjoyed speaking to him last year when he met with the media on media day as well, and he'll do that again. And I think Andre Turrentine is also speaking.
Oh,
Andre
great.
Turrentine, it feels like he's been here for 10 years at this point.
He's
so
great.
It'll be
a fun day
of Tennessee football media.
Yeah, Turntime is great, man. He really is. I got a text this morning, like right before we started the show. 7:25. Well, I guess y'all be talking about Boo Carter this morning. I go, unfortunately. Because when you have a player that is on the front of Athlon Sports Magazine, we shouldn't be having a conversation about whether or not he's going to be at practice at fall camp. There should be excitement across the board with zero drama at this stage of the season. But there is excitement, but there's a little bit of anxiety among the fan base because you're on this roller coaster wondering if one of your best players is going to be part of this team or not. And you have a player that hasn't done everything that he needed to do. And this is not easy position for Josh Heupel to be in, y'all. I hope people understand this. Like, Nico decided not to come to practice before Orange and White game. Publicly, Josh Heupel said, no one's bigger than the T. And here we are at the end of July, and you may have to be forced to stand on what you said earlier in the year with Boo Carter. If you have players on that football team, you have a leadership council. And the leadership council, and I don't care what the fans say about what they think needs to happen and who needs to be on the team and who doesn't need to be on the team. It really doesn't matter what Josh Heupel says. This is about the leadership council and players on this football team, because they're the ones that's going to tell you if they're okay with Boo Carter being a part of this team. And Boo Carter has to be the one that is remorseful and apologetic and sincere and intentional about why he chose to walk the way he has been walking and let his teammates know that he's going to make those changes. Because when you're a player on the team and you're putting in all the work and you're doing what's asked of you and you're showing discipline and there's times you don't want to do something, but you know you have to do it and you want to do it because you don't want to let your brothers down, and you push through it anyways because, again, you don't want to let your guys down. And then you have a player that's not doing that, not showing that same discipline and being selfish. You don't want that player around. You can't trust that player on the football field. I don't care how good he is. Like, I'm a Boo Carter fan. During recruitment, we've talked about him so much. I wanted him to play offense. He's electric. He's amazing on the football field. But this is just taking Boo Carter's name and saying player X is in his position. What has happened is worse than a player getting arrested in some ways. Now there are players that get arrested, and based on the severity of the crime, you get kicked off the team right then and there. But small things that players get arrested for, this is worse because you have a locker room that may have different opinions. And the last thing Josh Heupel needs right now, being with the quarterback coming in from UCLA and Joey Aguilar, with two freshman quarterbacks that will be competing, is a locker room that's saying, nah, like, you need a locker room that's together on one page because you don't want to lose a locker room before you even start fall camp. So, like, this is Josh Heupel's biggest test. This is not easy because you have, Boo's parents. Ben, I'm turning it over to you. You got Boo's parents that have, mom was not happy at one point, and then another point, mom and dad talking about next season. I'm talking about was she about to wear it to the games, and so there's been these mixed messages. We're going to hear from Josh Heupel here in about 4 hours, and maybe know exactly what's going on. So, Ben, you were out last week. Took some much needed time, charge those batteries, get ready for this run that we're going to make for a couple of months. But I'm tired talking about this. We shouldn't have to be sitting here discussing one of your best players' status on the football team because he's quite frankly not being a great teammate. But here we are.
Yeah, I'm glad that I was able to miss those two shows
last week because
I haven't even talked about it as much as you. And on top of doing the Swain event twice last week, I'm sure you and Josh spent plenty of time talking about it for 3 hours all last week as well each day.
Plenty.
Whichever days y'all were on. So I know you're tired of talking about it, and I'm tired of talking about it. And I haven't even talked about it as much as you, near as much as you have. But this is very much black or white to me. I think this is real. I realize this is a difficult situation, and it's a frustrating decision to make, and it's a hard decision to make in the sense of you know how talented Boo is as a football player. And you realize as a football player how key he can be to the defense. But with that said, I don't think it's that hard of a decision at this point. I think it's pretty simple, and I realize that's easy to say from my vantage point and my seat, and I'm not the one making the decision that will affect Boo individually and then hundreds of people within the program, but I don't see how he could be a part of the program moving forward. I think it's real cut and dry. Like, I think it would be a massive, massive, massive mistake to allow Boo Carter to be on the football team this fall. There is enough out there publicly to where if you read between the lines, it's very clear that his teammates are livid with him, very upset with him. And I've heard from multiple people that there's a lot of teammates that would prefer to move on, quite frankly. So with that understanding, how could you allow somebody back on the team? If that's how their teammates feel about them, and nearly the entire organization is like keeping an eye on the decision that you make, and it sounds like if you allow him back, it's really going to rub a lot of players the wrong way. I don't understand how you could let him back on the team. So I realize it's easy for me to say from my seat, but I think it's a real easy decision for Josh Heupel. I don't even like. I know the football talent is what it is, but from a locker room standpoint, a chemistry standpoint, I don't understand how you could allow somebody to act the way that Boo has acted this offseason, understand how his teammates feel about him, and then have him a part of your team. That goes against everything you preach week in and week out from the moment you got to Tennessee. And I I truly believe that if Josh Heupel were to allow Boo Carter to be a part of this football team this fall, I think it would be his worst decision by far during his tenure at Tennessee. I think it's a no-brain decision, even if it's a frustrating one and you're losing out on a great football talent. I just don't see how you could allow somebody who has acted the way Boo has acted to be back on the team. And even then, it sounds like in trying to come to a resolution with Boo the last couple of days or the last week or two, that like even Boo has fought back on some of the potential things that he would have to do to be back on the team. And it's like, come on, man. Like, what are we doing? Like, I just don't understand Boo Carter and his camp's approach to and just it seems like nobody in his circle is holding him accountable for his actions and are encouraging his actions and acting as if it's all Tennessee's fault, as if he's not doing anything wrong. And it's baffling how they've moved in this situation. But again, I don't. If I'm Josh Heupel, I can't allow that to be a part of my football program. If I'm truly going to be genuine about the standards of my locker room and my leadership council.
Boo certainly feels like he has some leverage for some reason. To be, if that's the case, where you push it back on the punishment, you mean that would mean that you feel like you have some leverage, and you shouldn't have any, considering, kind of, where you are. I mean, let's be honest. We're in this position where there's a question on whether or not he's going to be on the team because Boo arguably is your best football player. He's your best healthy football player, arguably, right now.
That's the leverage that he thinks that he has.
Well, it may be that. It may be something else. I don't know. But,
and honestly, it's why we're still having this conversation on July 29th, quite frankly. I bet if Boo Carter wasn't as good at football as he is,
we know that, yeah.
he probably would have been gone 2 weeks ago.
Well, honestly, if Boo Carter was at Georgia or some other places, he would have been gone already. Josh Heupel is a little bit more lenient. He's been described more as a player's coach, and that's fine. You can be whatever coach you need to be, or have whatever personality you need to have. You can be a player's coach. You can be more free with, how you handle things. You can be a disciplinarian. Like, all coaches have different personalities. But the number one thing that matters is your locker room. And the moment you lose the locker room, it's a wrap. It's over. It is over. And so that's why I look at this not in black and white. There's gray, because there's not been a statement put out that he's been dismissed yet. This thing has went on for days and days and days. I think there's a reason for that. I do think Tennessee is prepared to say bye. I do think for Boo Carter, there's a path. There's a path. You suspend them for the first 2 games. Hey, let's be honest, Ben. You played Georgia the 3rd game. Let's be honest here.
I mean, that would be a significant suspension for Tennessee. You need Boo Carter against Syracuse. I mean, Syracuse is not a team.
I know. But
I know you know that.
You can't not suspend them for the first game.
No, I know. I know. I'm not advocating for that.
Yeah, like perception sometimes is reality, and you have a player that hasn't been around and has missed multiple things according to reports, and he doesn't miss any game time. You're going to point to discipline. And then you have the penalties that has cost Tennessee over the years. It's going to point to discipline. And so you got to be really careful about the messaging, because, again, you told Nico no one's bigger than the T. Well, you got to tell Boo the same thing. So there has to be some type of repercussion. There has to be some type of punishment.
Let me ask you this, though.
A game or two.
On the Georgia thing, we understand why he would be coming back for the Georgia game. I get that.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. But if you're trying to send a message to Boo Carter, is the message actually going to be received? If like the emotions you and I just expressed about, we get it coming back for the Georgia game. We totally get it. We understand how this works. But Boo's also going to understand that. And if he understands that, then is like the message actually going to get home to him?
Well, it's zero tolerance. Like, you have to put him on a zero tolerance. Like, hey, man, we on time. We showing up for stuff. Zero tolerance. One more deal, it's over. It's a wrap. I mean, again, like, this is about the locker room. Like, I saw some of the folks on Twitter that think they know what's best for the team by saying you got to have Boo back by any means necessary. No. Again, I'm a Boo Carter fan, but the locker room is more important than one player. We just told our franchise quarterback, the dude that you sued the NCAA for, the dude you were paying years of money to, and got one full season out of. You told him bye-bye. No one else on this team has that type of cachet, that type of value. I don't care if you're in state. I don't care if you was born inside of Neyland Stadium. I don't care if you're from Tennessee. You can be born inside of the stadium and born inside the locker room. It don't matter. The locker room is more important than anything right now. So, Josh Heupel, I'm just saying, he needs to be very, very, very careful here, because you have a locker room that, and I hope this doesn't happen. I hope it's so clear that everyone in the locker room is like, yeah, he's the starter. Yeah, man, he was balling during fall camp. I hope it's not too close between the two quarterbacks to where you have half of the locker room preferring one quarterback and the other half preferring another quarterback. That's not what you want either. And so, like, this is a very delicate situation with your locker room. Leadership has been something over the years that I have felt needed to improve. And I think we're going to see that with how this team has come together after Nico dipped. Like, we're seeing it, man. We're hearing about it. That's great. You can't let Boo mess it up. That's all I'm saying.
And that's my question.
But that's why Boo has to, and this is tough for young men. You got to put your pride to the side. You making bank, you making some money, but you wrong. You got to talk to your teammates. You need to have them vouching for you. You need to have the leadership council vouching for you. If the leadership council does not vouch for you, then it's over. I told this story, I think, here. You wasn't here, but we had a starter, an all-SEC player, that during the summer, he just disappeared. Whew, he was gone. No one heard from him. He had missed workouts, which, listen, man, it's a cardinal sin to miss those. You can get arrested. You can miss class. You miss workouts. Yo, that's a cardinal sin. It's not a locker room. But this player, well liked. Everyone loved him. Disappeared. He gets back. He addresses the whole team. Midfield on the turf. I think it was before or after a workout. I'm not sure which one. But I do remember him addressing the whole team. He apologized. He insisted it wasn't going to happen again. And we was good from there. We was good. We were prepared when he was gone to move on without him. Damn, man, he ain't going to play. Oh, well. And that was a time where we had talent on talent on talent. So it wasn't like, oh my God, this is our best player. What are we gonna do? Oh, we gotta be super patient with the guy. And, nah, man, bye. Like, we were prepared to move on. So that's what I'm saying. Boo has to do, man.
I believe he's being reluctant to do that.
Well,
and that's why there's no gray area to me, because I look at it as a very simple question of if Boo Carter returns, does that hurt your locker room? In my opinion, I think it does. And that's why there's no gray area for me. We'll see if it gets resolved. We'll see if Boo Carter has a change of heart in terms of how he wants to go about his business, because obviously everything you're saying is spot on. And like, I'm all for Boo doing everything that you're saying and have experienced and the examples you are presenting. I'm all for Boo doing that. It just kind of sounds like he's reluctant to do that.
Yeah,
and if that's the case, then that's why I say there's no gray area for me, because I think his return would be negative for the locker room, and I don't think Tennessee can afford that.
Yeah, no. Oh man, there can be other things to be discussing than this. This is ridiculous.
And as Neal and Mafia said, it's somehow Tim Tebow's fault.
Oh, it's definitely Tebow's fault. Hunsucker says saying no one bigger than the team doesn't always mean kick your player off the team, but it does mean there needs to be accountability. Exactly. So that could be a suspension. Like that sends a message to your team. It sends a message to the public. It just sends a strong message when you start making guys miss time. Remember when players at Alabama will get in trouble and they never miss time, and how much Nick Saban got criticized for that. And he insisted that he handled things internally. He disciplined his players internally. But no, it wasn't good enough because guys didn't miss time. When you miss a game, I think that's a strong message to everyone. So 865-255-03, Garza Law hotline for you. Again, 865-255-03. The Beatty Chevrolet, BeattyChevrolet.com text box. Does involve 71 because we got a pretty strong quote about Joey Aguilar that I need to touch on with you, my friend. Dustin Vol 71 says, if there's any animosity towards a player or between a player, if there's any animosity between a player and this Boo situation, you have to cut it off. Cancer grows, has to be removed before it spreads, even if it's a homegrown star. Yes, Vaughn Birmingham. Honestly, I don't know how this doesn't cause issues in the locker room. If this is as bad as it sounds, I mean, yeah, I mean it's not good. Yeah, it's not good. It's not good. If he's 100% contrite and remorseful and asks, you have to forgive him. If not, show him the door. Well, you don't have to forgive him, but
I agree with this sentiment.
I would like for him to be, forgiven.
Yes.
I would like for him to have an opportunity to play on this team, but I'm not in the locker room. I don't know the temperature, and I do understand like what Heupel needs to do to maintain the credibility of his locker room.
I think Tennessee would like to give him grace and forgive him, but I think it's more on Boo Carter at this point. Just like this whole situation is on Boo Carter, I think it's on Boo Carter to be to man up and take accountability and realize that he needs to change and
carry himself
better. So I think Tennessee would like to show grace and forgive him, but it's going to be up to Boo if he wants to take the necessary steps to receive that grace and forgiveness.
Yeah. Chip Payne, even before the injury to McCoy or the drama with Boo, this season is a little unpredictable simply to the fact the amount of freshmen and redshirt freshmen on the team. Almost half the team is young and inexperienced. Yeah, talented. That blue chip ratio, Tennessee hit that threshold to be a championship quality opponent. That was an article on CBS Sports where Tennessee is like 50-something percent, 51%. Michigan won the championship at 50-something percent. And so your recruiting has been better in the last couple of years, but it's young talent. And what kind of message are you sending to your young guys? if you don't handle the situation with Boo correctly. So let's talk about how Ben Stillers released VFL CP Flash from the Real D from the 423. Man, CP is old.
What's Swain? What's the best availability?
Man, the best ability is availability.
There you go. I said it incorrectly.
Yeah.
Well, CP did not practice at all during the Steelers' first 4 practices, and he was hurt all of last year. He doesn't have the same burst and speed that he once had, unfortunately. So I don't know.
Guys, man.
I wanted CP to be a part of the Steelers, but unfortunately, CP's time has passed. The time has caught up to CP.
It's a reason why CP, Cordell Patterson, broke the news the way he did and laughed about it. I want y'all to think about this. Cordell Patterson played 1 season at Tennessee. His last year was 12. So 12 years in the league and hasn't been a receiver yet. Think about how dominant he has been and was drafted as a wide receiver, didn't do anything as a wide receiver. Think about all the first-round receivers that you know that lasted a year or 2, maybe 3, that didn't pan out as a receiver. I think about Justin Blackman at Oklahoma State. I think about Laquan Treadwell. I think about studs that were told bye-bye. This man, Cordell Patterson, became one of the best returners in NFL history and then was a dang good running back. Who does that? That's how freakishly athletic and good Cordell Patterson is in the game of football. This man played 12 years in the NFL and hasn't been a good receiver and was drafted as a receiver in the first round. Yo, he got 12 years. He can sit back, if this is it, he can sit back and be freaking thankful and feel blessed that he was able to play as long as he did, coming out of South Carolina, going to JUCO, 1 year at Tennessee, and having the career that he had at Tennessee. Man, I think it's amazing. I think he should celebrate. That's how I look at it. This is not a time to be sad. This is a time to celebrate.
Real D from the 423 is just picking on me about my Steelers.
That's all he's trying to do. And you can't let him. Yeah, you can't let him.
Yeah, that's right. A-Rod's going to win MVP. Steelers are going to win the Super Bowl. And A-Rod's going to go out off into the sunset on a golden carriage.
Yeah.
I want to get to them. I know you're going to the text box. I want to get to them before they disappear because the text box is humming. The first 2 messages of the day were non-boo questions.
Okay.
The first one was from Beach Bum Vol, which I love that name. Ole Miss runs a similar offense to us, but it seems like the NFL scouts don't have the same concerns with their players as they do ours. Why do you think that is?
I won't say it's the same exact thing. I mean, Lane has been running up-tempo offense for a while. Now, when he had Jeff Lebby as his offense coordinator, they were really, really, really fast. But they're obviously doing something different that makes NFL scouts feel better about those players' games translating to the next level. So
I think they do more. I think there's more reads. I think there's more route trees. I think there's more concepts. I think there's a lot more within the offense that NFL teams run than at Tennessee. That would be my simple answer.
Yeah, Jackson Dart was drafted. You got multiple receivers drafted there. I mean, I think that's simple. And that's another challenge for Josh Heupel this season too, moving forward. Y'all, I can't reiterate this enough. This is a humongous season for Josh Heupel, intern number 5. You have to prove to recruits and NFL scouts that you can help your guys be ready to go in the league on offense, because that's a narrative that's not going anywhere. You have a new quarterback that you just got from UCLA, and you have two freshman quarterbacks, and there's a quarterback battle going on. And then there's a narrative out there from UCLA, thanks to an article Bruce Feldman wrote.
I already know where you're going.
That when Bruce Feldman talked to someone at UCLA and wrote about it, here's an excerpt from what he wrote. He says, the Bruins desperately needed a quarterback coming out of 2024, a year when they ranked 126 in scoring and 95th in yards per play. UCLA scored more than 20 points in only 2 games. They brought in Appalachian State transfer Joey Aguilar last winter in hopes he could spark the offense. But halfway through the spring, Foster wasn't sold on his quarterback's connection to the receivers and his film study habits. Yo, they basically saying, my man wasn't studying film the way he's supposed to. That's what Foster's saying here, or someone that inside that building at UCLA.
I believe it came from Foster.
Oh, I mean,
And look, I read, I talked about this exact quote on our Go Vols 24/7 podcast that we posted on Monday, because I read this story Sunday night while I was trying to get my oldest to continue to sleep in his bed and not continue to come to my bed. So in the middle of the night, I was reading this story, and my eyebrows raised as soon as I read that quote. Now, I think we also need to point out, like, that entire story, and I love Bruce Feldman. He does a phenomenal job, and this is no offense to Bruce Feldman. That was a Nico Iamaleava puff piece.
I don't care if it was a Nico puff. That quote is damning.
It is damning. There's no doubt about
It
that.
is,
But
yeah.
UCLA, you don't think UCLA is going to go out of their way to make Joey's time seem worse than it actually was?
You can't.
I have a hard time believing that, especially when
Why would you
I don't
do that?
know. I don't
Why
know
would you lie about that?
why would they not lie about that given their circumstance and how they courted Nico? The entire story was about how
You can just say Nico's better talent. That's all you had to say. Like, everyone understood why UCLA did what they did. Hey, man, Nico's better talent. Cool. For this to be said means that that's how they feel. Now, it's up to Joey Aguilar to prove them right or wrong. That's all I'm saying. Like,
I hear you.
Yeah.
And I'm not at all disagreeing. It's a damning statement
It's how
in
they
a
feel.
story.
Yeah, that's how they feel.
But I don't believe them. I really don't. And I'm not saying that because he's at Tennessee. I'd be saying the same thing if he was at a different SEC school. I think they are trying to smooth over their process of kicking Joey to the curb and their courting of Nico and how they did it by the book and this, that, and the other. Because and here's why I think they're putting sauce on the sentiment. Because everything we had heard about Joey before that story came out was the polar opposite of what that statement said.
What did we hear about him?
Well, there were two things that were damning in that statement. That Deshaun Foster was questioning his connection with the receivers.
Mm-hmm.
We have heard nothing but good things about how Joey has tried to integrate himself into the locker room and have heard nothing but great things about what his teammates think about him, correct?
That could mean two different things, though.
How so?
So your connection with the receivers could mean y'all not on the same page on the field. Like, the ball's hitting the ground, the receivers going one way, you throwing it another way. You guys just don't have that chemistry. You can be cool off the field. You can go out to eat with your linemen. You can be cool with other guys, but the connection with your receivers. The quote says receivers. Connection with receivers. It doesn't talk about him coming in and being a good leader, and like there was no knock on that. It was about his connection with receivers, and that could be for different reasons. It could be because y'all just don't vibe, or y'all not sold each other, whatever the case may be. At the end of the day, it's not good. So you have that, and then you have a question about the film study, and like that's how they feel. For them to go out their way and say that about the film study stuff, I thought was unnecessary, because no one was going to question UCLA for saying, "Oh, you want this number one player in the country, NFL talent, over a kid from Appalachian State?" Okay, we all get it. But the fact they said that about the film study stuff makes me believe that's how they feel. Now, it doesn't really matter to this point, because Joey has to prove them right or wrong. That's all I'm saying. Like, it's his responsibility to prove them right or wrong. You say you don't believe him. It doesn't matter if you believe him or if I believe him. It doesn't matter. What matters is what Joey does this year. Because if he stinks, that article or those quotes from UCLA are going to
look back on him.
Or it's going to seem like they were true, right?
Yeah, for sure. And it's just not what we heard since Joey has gotten here.
Well, we haven't heard anything, Ben, because he hasn't said anything.
Well, we haven't heard anything from Joey, but we've heard that like Joey's done a good job of getting in the building and getting to work and getting in the playbook and setting up throwing sessions with the receivers. Like that we've heard nothing but that since he got to Tennessee, which is, have we not? We've heard those things? We have,
but that doesn't mean what UCLA said ain't true.
Correct. I understand that.
Two things can be true.
It just struck me, and it made me raise my eyebrow when I read that, because what we've heard about how Joey has tried to adjust to Tennessee has been the total opposite. Yeah. What we've heard at Tennessee is that he's been all in the playbook, getting to know his teammates on and off the field, setting up throwing sessions, hanging out with them off the field. That's all we've heard since we got here, which is the opposite of what that story indicated.
But Ben, where are you right now?
At my house.
Where's your house located? Is it in Knoxville, Tennessee?
Yes.
It might be debatable, but Knoxville, Tennessee. You cover Tennessee. You know dang well that there's not going to be anything put out by this regime that's not going to be overly positive.
Very true.
We were told that Emmanuel Okoye was going to be the most athletic tight end in Tennessee history. He ain't even playing tight end. He hasn't played it down. We were told that Dante Thornton was going to come in and essentially be like Jalen Hyatt. So knowing these things, and it's okay. It's cool. It's no problem that the regime has been overly positive. It has helped this program turn around. When you had a previous coach that tells you what you can't do, Heupel made guys believe that they could do it, and they went out and did it. It works for this program. But you got to take those reports with a grain of salt, because you know how we roll. It's going to be overly positive until it shows up on the field. And so, do I believe Joey Aguilar is working hard? Yes. Do I believe he is connecting with his teammates? Absolutely. I heard it from some players themselves. I do believe that. But we're talking Bruce Feldman, dude. This ain't some blogger.
Well, yeah, right, absolutely. But this isn't on Bruce. I mean, he's just directly quoting what the UCLA coaches are telling him. So
but he don't put it in there if it's just some like just if it's just wrong like this.
But how would Bruce know if it's wrong? He's just going off the word of the coaches.
Well, I guess that means Deshaun Foster lied.
What you're saying about taking positive reports on our end with a grain of salt, all I'm saying is I would also take the UCLA stuff that is coming from the mouths of a UCLA coach. I would also take that with a grain of salt. That's what I'm
doing, because it don't matter what Deshaun Foster said in the spring. All that matters is what Joey Aguilar does in the fall. It's Joey's responsibility to prove him right or wrong. That's why I take it with a grain of salt. but I'm not gonna sit here and say I don't believe that he feels that way, because we don't know how he got to that conclusion. Dude, he might have, you know, the staff knows how much time you spend watching film. Like, when I was playing, you had to, like, we had a piece of paper on the door, and you had to go and sign in throughout the day. All right, I got here at 12:05, and I left at 1:30. Now, there's a system to where you can watch film anywhere. You log in, they know when you've logged in. They know how much film you've watched. They know. You can't say, yeah, coach, I watched the film. I don't know if you remember that documentary with Mike Vick. He's like, yeah, coach, yeah, I watched that film. And they gave him a blank film. Or the documentary with Johnny Manziel, when they knew he wasn't watching film. Like, technology is so advanced now that they know when you watching film and when you're not. So I'm pretty sure they know and feel good about, you know, Deshaun Foster feels good about the information he has before he said that. But all I'm saying is, it don't matter, man. Like, it don't matter. It didn't matter what Dante Thornton did at Oregon. Oregon couldn't wait to get rid of him, right? But what did Dante do here? He got himself drafted in the 4th round. He was Tennessee's most explosive player because Dante learned from the experience, did things better. The environment was better. Maybe the offense was better for Dante. And now Dante's catching 70-yard bombs from Geno Smith in the Raiders camp right now. But Oregon didn't think he would ever amount to that. Well, UCLA doesn't think Joey Aguilar is going to, you know, lead them to where they need to go, which is why they got Nico. But it's Joey's responsibility, all I'm saying, to prove UCLA wrong. That's all.
Well, he is certainly going to be asked about that today. And I do feel.
Talking?
Yes, all 3 quarterbacks are speaking. Which is, I mean, it's part of the job nowadays. I mean, you're treated like a professional.
I know.
With that comes professional responsibilities. But
I think Joey should come out and be like Tupac at the beginning of Hit 'Em Up.
That'd be great.
You said what?
It.
I think he should come out and just go hard on Deshaun Foster. No, he's going to say something really politically correct, which he should. He's going to take the high road, which he should, and then kill him this year, and then make Deshaun Foster look like a fool. That's all you got to do.
Yeah. Now, I do feel a bit more strongly about that being a puff piece for Nico. And I love Bruce Feldman. I believe we had him on the show when you and I were doing it.
We did.
Every day. Like, he and it's not, I mean, he's writing from the UCLA perspective. So I don't think he was intentionally making it a puff piece about Nico, but he was talking to people who are going to talk up Nico because he talked to UCLA people, and Nico's now part of UCLA. But, I mean, the whole story is about how he's going to come and be the savior of UCLA football, and how all of the teammates stopped and stared at him when he showed up to practice for the first time, and this, that, and the other.
There's some losers. That tells y'all need to know.
Yes.
They're not used
players
to
were
talented
running up
players.
to him.
They're not used to talent.
Yeah. Now part of it, I do think it's true that Nico played with a lot of those guys, given the Los Angeles area tie. So maybe he did know those guys from high school ball. And like if I was a UCLA football player and one of my buddies from high school showed up to be part of the team, I'd be excited as well and probably run over and say hello and stuff. But it sounded real corny in the story. And like I do think that was a puff piece for Nico, but that's a separate conversation for a different day.
Yeah, I mean, for me, if I'm a Tennessee fan, I don't care if it was a puff piece or if it was a piece to run Nico on the ground. All thing that caught my eye was that quote about Tennessee's current quarterback.
It caught my eye too.
I was like, hold on, what? Not even the connection part with the receivers, because like, hey man, he just got there. Of course, it takes time to connect with your receivers. It took Hendon a whole year to connect with his receivers. It takes time. So like that little part didn't even catch my eye at all. because it takes time, build chemistry. But the film study habits, that should never be questioned for a quarterback, ever.
No, it shouldn't. Vol from Charlotte wants to know what the most important key in a successful fall camp is that leads to a successful season. So what's the biggest key for Tennessee this fall camp to accomplish in order to have success during the season?
First thing, you want to get out of the fall camp healthy, but we won't even count that.
Get lucky.
Well, some of it is luck, right? That's a really good question.
Would it be the first thing that came to my head was just the chemistry and leadership aspect of it. Obviously, there's a lot of football stuff that will be worked on, but I feel like this is really where the leadership of your team and the character of your team is built.
Well, I'm thinking about each team at Tennessee and each fall camp as I try to answer the question as honestly as possible. And I remember how close we were my last year, and I remember going into my sophomore year, how much talent we had. There was a lot of me stuff going into my junior year. Guys really just worried about, their draft stock and their draft status, and it wasn't so much of that my sophomore year and in my senior year. And plus, we had the quarterback battle that affected things too, and the locker room was split. I mean, the locker room was lost. That's an example of, you have some guys that want this quarterback, some guys want this quarterback, and the locker room was lost, and we played like it, went 5-6 that year. So the most important thing for this team is to develop the leadership and the accountability to each other. Fall camp is designed to be really hard. It's designed to be grueling. And how do you bounce back from a tough day? How do you bounce back from a tough period? Are the players leading each other, or are you looking around at the coaches? And that's going to be the biggest story in this next 7 to 10 days, because you have a young team, and can young players challenge each other? It's going to put more weight on the Kittlemans of the world, of the Ethan Davises of the world, guys who've been in the program multiple years. It doesn't matter how old you are, what year you are, but you can't expect the coaches to always hold guys accountable. The advantages of having an experienced team is the leadership from within the locker room. The other advantage is the experience in the games, from a technique standpoint, knowing how to beat the guy in front of you. Physically, you're more developed. But policing each other, that's hard to do. I wasn't policing my own teammates when I was a freshman. I wasn't doing that. We was all trying to figure it out. We was trying to figure it out, man. Wasn't holding guys accountable as a freshman or second-year player. But as I got older, then I started doing that. But these guys will be counted on to do that this year. And that's going to be a challenge. Then Mafia says, that's why I blank Joe blank. You UCLA blankety blank. Yeah, man, come out like Tupac and hit him up.
Or since Joey is he from the LA area? I know he's from Southern California.
He's from Cali. I don't know exactly what part.
I think it's Southern California.
We'll look it up.
Come out the new age version of Tupac, come out like Kendrick.
Oh yeah. Hey Sean. I hear like your quarterback's young. Oh man.
Oh, that's a good example. Nico is still a young quarterback. Well, I guess now this is his third year of college football.
He's younger than Joey. Because Joey got one more year. That's it.
Look, and Tennessee fans, those of you who are tired of hearing about Nico, which is probably everybody at this point, And I feel you. Buckle up, because Nico is going to be crammed down your throats the next several months, whether you want him to be or not, because every snap he takes will be combed over to the nth degree, whether it's pro Nico people outside of Tennessee saying, look at this play that Nico had, or the bad plays Tennessee will obviously highlight, Tennessee fans. So Nico is going to be followed just as much as the Vols this season, quite frankly, because everybody's going to be watching every move that he makes. I've already seen a lot of – the reason I say that is because I've already seen a lot of people say, I'm tired of reading about Nico and seeing Nico. And, well, when people stop clicking on Nico stuff, I'm sure people will stop writing about Nico.
Yeah, I know. Mr. Thornton is going nuts in Raiders camp by 931 Vol. And then, Mafia, are you sounding the alarm bell like Butch's 17 team? No, I'm not sounding the alarm. I'm not inside the locker room. The Bukhara situation, the quarterback battle, based on experience, I'm just saying how important this season is for Josh Heupel and how there's not problems going on with this program, this team, like Butch's programs, and that started in 2015. Like, that was simmering for a while, and some of the success, even though it was doing less with more talent. I mean, that was a double-digit regular season football team when you look at the talent. But it got glossed over because Tennessee was winning despite all the drama that was going on. Remember in 2016 when we was fumbling so much, but we was winning, and we were 5-0. Going to Texas A&M. And I was like, guys, at some point, this is going to bite Tennessee in the butt if we keep fumbling and putting the ball on the ground. We're lucky that we're recovering it. And what happened? We fumbled in that game. We lost the game. And then it started happening. The drama became more and more to the point where you had a starter decide not to go back in the game. This is nothing compared to that. This is Boo Carter. All I'm saying is the locker room. You got to listen to the locker room. And if you don't, you're going to lose the locker room like you did in 2017. So it's not anywhere close. We start the show Tuesdays and Thursdays at 8 a.m. 931 Vol. Smokey74 says, I'm with Ben. I don't believe UCLA of that report. That's fine. You can feel that way. But it don't matter if you believe it or not. It doesn't matter.
It matters in the sense of it raises a red flag about what Joey might be at Tennessee. That's why it concerns Tennessee fans. You're absolutely right, obviously, that those quotes have nothing to do with how Joey is going to play on the field. It's up to Joey to prove those quotes wrong. But from the Tennessee fan vantage point, it raises a potential red flag or a concern that, okay, maybe my quarterback now has those issues. So it matters in that regard.
Like, it makes no sense for UCLA to lie about that. Like, it makes no sense.
Well, I think it does, because they want to be seen as they came out on top, that we are now in a better situation with our quarterback
don't have to crap
than the
on him.
quarterback that Tennessee has.
It's unnecessary to crap on him. You don't have to do that.
Well, if the reporter asked why you were fine with moving on from the quarterback that you had, those are potential reasons that you were presenting as to why you were fine with bringing Nico in when you already brought somebody in from App State.
I just don't feel like a Bruce Feldman article would have this in it, considering his background, if they didn't truly feel that way, and there was a reason why they said that. Like, again, it could be 1,000% true, and Joey could be a great film study quarterback here at Tennessee. Both things can happen. like that's why I'm saying like it doesn't really matter if it's right or wrong if Joey Aguilar handles his business. But if the UCLA report's true and he does the same thing, it's going to show on the field. If it's wrong, if let's say it's wrong and he doesn't ball out, then people are going to say, well, maybe he was right. So that's why I keep saying, like, really at the end of the day, it just doesn't matter. It matters what Joey Aguilar does from this point moving forward. The moment he became a Tennessee Volunteer, that's where it mattered, because you can have bad habits, good habits at the place prior, but if you come in and ball out, it doesn't matter. And that's why I use Dante Thornton as an example. Like UCLA, Oregon couldn't wait to get rid of Dante, but we thought we was getting gold. He was trashed to Oregon. It just didn't matter because Dante determined whether Oregon was right or wrong. And based on what he did in 2 years at Tennessee, he made Oregon wrong. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, the Sean Foster, who seems to have egg on his face quite a bit during his tenure as UCLA's head coach, could have egg on his face in the future. And I don't at all think it's like Bruce Feldman, like making stuff up. I don't at all believe that. I genuinely believe that he was told that. Like, again, I don't think he's just putting fake news in his story. It's not a Bruce Feldman thing. I just think that UCLA is going to say what they want to say, and then it's up to Bruce to decipher whether it's putting a little extra sauce on it or not. And obviously he feels like it was worthy of putting in there.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessary. So it would be stupid to bash a kid like that and lie about it. That's all. You could just say
that happens in sports. That happens in stories all the time. So it's possible.
I'm going to the phones. 865-255-03. Oh, well, I'm not. Good morning.
The phones don't want you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How we doing?
What's up, man? Sounds like Justin in Florida.
Not much. Yes, sir.
All right, what's up?
Just interesting discussion you guys are having. I kind of go back to last year around this time, and, we were hearing all these reports about, Nico and gelling with everybody, and then they get out on the field, and that connection between him and the wide receivers weren't there because we had consistent, mishits downfield. And, I kind of go back to that time that was spent in the off season between Hooker and Hyatt and Tillman and, Vellis. And I think that's something that we've been kind of lacking. So hearing a report like this, coming out of UCLA, I guess you kind of do have to take it with a grain of salt, but at the same time, there needs to be a lot of extra work put in outside of practice to have everything dialed in. And I really, really hope that's what we see, because we can't go into next season and not be able to connect with balls downfield again.
Yeah, and that could be what the connection quote meant inside that article. Like, you can work with guys, and you're just not connecting. Like, you're not on the same page. And there was times last year where it seemed like that for Nico. With some of the overthrows, some of the inaccurate throws, or plays where it was on the receiver and not on the quarterback. So connection is connection, whether it's the receiver's fault or quarterback's fault. And so that's a really good point. Like, sometimes chemistry takes a long time to build. Sometimes, it's instant. It's like me and Ben. When we started doing the show together, it was instant chemistry. And listen, man, we've done the show with folks, Ben. You have too, in your short media career and my short media career, to where, listen, we ain't vibing. Like, it ain't working, man. It just ain't working. And
real quick, this is something I did want to add.
Yeah, go for it.
One thing that's been a little concerning is, have we heard reports of, like, the QBs and the wide receivers, staying late, because again, you go back to the spring, it was almost like a competition at that point. Tillman started it in 21 with all the extra balls he was catching, and then in 22 seemed like Hyatt wanted to outdo him, and then you had some younger guys going, well, look, a guy like Hyatt puts in the work, look what happens with him, wins a Biletnikoff, I'm going to do even more. I haven't heard any of that. Have you guys?
No. But I haven't like asked either, but I haven't heard it either. So.
I've heard of. I mean, I don't know how often they're doing it, but I've heard little rumbles that, like, hey, they're staying after, and Joey's hosting, making sure they're having throwing sessions, and they're. I've heard that they're putting in extra work. I don't know how often, how much, but it's happening. To what extent, I don't know, but it's happening.
Yeah, it's definitely happening.
Okay. I just, like I said, it seems like in years past, there was a lot more of that information available. And I understand with the change and, just getting a QB up to speed in a very, very short period of time, you're kind of fighting an uphill battle. And I get all that, but it just, one thing I was kind of hoping to hear was like, yeah, there's a lot of stuff being done, nights, weekends, after practice, and it just doesn't seem like we're hearing those same reports. And
it's a little different too, Justin, because there's not a starter. Like, I mean, if I
but what a great way to give you an advantage to become the starter by putting in that extra work, so you're sharper on the field, look better in practice to win that job.
I understand, but as a receiver that was part of a quarterback battle, if quarterback A wants to throw at 8:00 at night, is that everybody? Is that the other two quarterbacks who are competing? Or is that me and, a couple of receivers? Is that everybody? So like with Hendon, it was Hendon's team. He was a starting quarterback. This is what time we're throwing. Everybody's coming. And so you have a quarterback that just came in May who's battling with two freshmen. I don't think the information will flow the same as it did when Hendon was here because there was an undoubted starter. I just think it's different.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Well, like I said, I think we'll be able to tell once the bullets start flying and, see how it plays out.
Yeah, 100%.
But appreciate the show.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for the phone call. Yeah, like the work is split up unless everyone has decided, this is what time that we're working out. This is what time we're throwing. And everybody is invited and supposed to be at this time. But I remember, man, there'll be times when I'll just throw a Rick Clausen during a quarterback battle. Or CJ Leak would say, pull me to the side, hey man, you want to throw? There were times I would throw individually with a quarterback during a quarterback battle. It wasn't all of them together. And so because of that, you're not going to get a bunch of eyeballs at one event. So like if, we had throwing sessions on Thursday at 5:30. Everyone knew those throwing sessions took place and Ames was starting quarterback. Well, everyone was there. Coaches are in their office. They could see support staff, like everyone had eyeballs. So you had sources. Yeah, we see the guys working out now. We see the leadership. But when you have this quarterback working with the receivers at this time, and then this quarterback working with the receivers at a different time, then you're not going to have the same eyeballs on those sessions, is what I'm saying. If that's the case, if they're doing different things. So that's why I think the information is flowing a little different.
I think Joey's doing the best job that he can, given
I think so too.
The weird situation, which is why I raised my eyebrow at that quote so much when I read it. But as you have said many times, somebody's going to prove the other wrong this football season, and it's up to Joey to prove that Deshaun Foster was just trying to hype up that he feels like he got the better quarterback out of the situation in that story.
Chip Payne says just because it's not being reported doesn't mean it's not happening. Maybe Hypo likes to keep things close to the vest, under promise and over deliver. I don't think that's the case because we've heard from years about players' gains in the weight room or in the on the football field. I don't think workouts are something that Hypo cares about. Positive stuff getting out. I don't think that really matters. I just think that you got a couple new dudes and there's no starting quarterback. I think that's really what it is. Now, Hypo does like keeping things close to the vest. Don't get me wrong, but like we get reports about players' gains in the weight room. Where do you think we get that from? Like that's given to media members. Media members ain't just getting that. That comes in the weight room. The strength coach reports to the head coach. People get that stuff to the media. That is intentionally sent out to let you know these dudes working hard. Hey, look at the difference in this player. He's gained, 5 pounds of muscle, but he's lost this amount of weight. Like, the media gets that information from the staff, okay? But it's easy to read into the off-season workouts too much because we're so used to getting information during the season. And then when the season's over, we don't get it. And we're like starving to know what's going on. And I remember saying this on this program, I don't know if you remember it, but I would always say the report is they getting better. That's the report. Because everybody every day is running and lifting weights. They're getting better. Like, that's the report. Because it's really hard to read into what a player's going to do during the fall based on what they do in the summer. Unless they ain't doing anything and not showing up. But, like, everybody's working hard, man. Like, everyone is having those gains. Everyone is, kind of transforming their body. Lance Hurd, you got to lose some weight, chisel up. Peyton Lewis did that this offseason as well. So I think that kind of happens, man. We get used to just kind of wanting to get some stuff from from summer camp. But the truth is, man, like everybody's getting better. K-Dog says they wanted him from App State for some reason. New team, new opportunities. Go Vols. Man, I agree with Ben. You see UCLA twisting the facts to make their decision look better. It's up to Joe Aguilar to take that and use it as extra motivation. I think he will. Dude, Nico is better talent. I think that's every reason that's good enough that people understand. But all those interceptions a direct correlation to film studies? The interceptions at App State? Don't know. Yeah, don't know. I mean, I think it's a factor. I think the interceptions, when you have that many interceptions, it ain't all because of one reason. It could be offensive line didn't protect you. You got hit while throwing the football. Receivers maybe tipped it up. I mean, it could be an unbelievable play, had a screen pass, and the defensive end made a great play and caught it out the air. Like, it could be a number of reasons why you get interceptions. But the volume is an eyebrow raiser. That's all. I don't think he's going to have anywhere near that here at Tennessee because I think he's going to play in a quarterback-friendly system. And it's going to be easier to throw in windows where it's less people.
And going back to our Ole Miss question earlier in terms of the difference in the offense and why the NFL seems to trust Lane's offense more than Heupel's is, well, something that will benefit Joey and potentially throw in less interceptions is he's not going to be asked to do as much.
No, he's not. It's a quarterback-friendly system, man. So, hey, wide splits, 5 in the box, we running the football. 6 in the box, maybe running the football. And so it's going to be, the picture is going to be a lot more defined for him and easier for him. C-Max says the moment Joey throws the first interception, people are going to be pointing to that article. Well, I don't know, man, because you got to have a subscription to get on Athletic. And it's not been talked about that much. One bad interception shouldn't bring up that article, but multiple bad interceptions may. Dude, I can't wait to see Joe Aguilar respond, because even without the quotes, they disrespected him. Is how I would look at it. Now, would I do the same thing if I was UCLA? I mean, I guess if I had a chance to get what I thought was a better player, yeah, I would do it, especially coming off a terrible season. But even without saying anything, they threw you to the curb for someone else. That's all you need to know.
He should have a massive chip on his shoulder, and I shouldn't say he should have. He does have a massive chip on his shoulder. There was another story that I read before I read the Bruce Feldman story on The Athletic. It was from Sam Kahn Jr., if I'm not mistaken, and it was detailing Joey's path through football and in college to how he ended up at Tennessee. That was really good, and he is somebody that has had to earn the starting job everywhere he's been. He's somebody who has not been given anything. Went to multiple junior colleges because he didn't have an offer out of high school. And his first junior college, if I remember correctly, he was traveling 90 minutes there and back each day. The story said he would leave his house at 6 a.m. every morning and would not get back to his house until 10 p.m. every night because it was a 90-minute trip, and that was the only JUCO offer that he had, and he had to earn the starting job there. And then he was affected by the COVID season, which is part of the reason he's still eligible now. Is because he was in junior college during that COVID year, and then he goes to a different junior college that was 20 minutes from his house, closer to home. He had to earn the starting job there, and then he goes to App State, finally gets an offer, got some offers from like Coastal Carolina, App State, ends up at App State. And if you remember, I guess it was Mac Brown's second to last season. If you remember App State going to North Carolina and almost upsetting the Tar Heels like week one. Oh, no, it was week two. It was week two, and App State nearly beat North Carolina in overtime. Joey was the starting quarterback in that game, and the reason he was the starting quarterback is because App State's quarterback got hurt in game one, so Joey was able to make his first D1 start at North Carolina week two. So even at App State, to start his App State career, nothing was given to him, and he benefited from an injury, took the job, ran with it, had a great year, and then last year had his down season for whatever reason. If I'm not mistaken, new offense and a lot of different players in the mix than he had year one. Like you kind of said, a lot of different reasons that kind of went into his down year, and then he's got this opportunity to go back home, play at a big time school in UCLA, and now this Nico situation happens. Now he ends up at Tennessee. He's not the starter going into camp. He's going to have to earn it. So like this is a dude that even before the UCLA stuff had a chip on his shoulder. You don't think that a guy that was traveling 90 minutes each morning to get to a junior college where he's not even starting, where he's questioning whether he even wants to play football? He talked about in the story how he was fascinated with being a fireman, and kind of that was what he thought was going to be the next step in his life, and that was something that he dreamed about, being a fireman and helping people. And he questioned whether he wanted to keep playing football and whether or not he should just go ahead and begin his the next phase of his life, being a fireman. And you don't think somebody who's traveling 90 minutes thinking about whether or not they still love this enough to keep traveling 90 minutes every morning, has a chip on their shoulder, and then traveling 90 minutes back home at the end of the day. I don't know how good Joey Aguilar is going to be for Tennessee, but he's certainly going to be somebody that gives his all, because that's kind of been his MO since he graduated high school.
Heck yeah, man. I'm glad you brought all that stuff up. In that game against North Carolina, he threw for 275 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. So not only did he play, but he played extremely well and gave his team a chance to upset North Carolina on the road. So should tell you a lot about the makeup of maybe Tennessee starting quarterback. Certainly everyone thinks he's going to be starting quarterback. 865-255-03, Ben McKee, Go Vols 247. I'm Jason Swain, live here in the Low T Center studio. Be right back. When you are craving some quality barbecue, there's only one place to go. Dead End Barbecue. Dead End Barbecue has been featured on ESPN's Taste of the Town, the first barbecue restaurant on the SEC Network, CBS Sports, Headline News Tailgate Show, Amazon Prime's The Restaurant Comeback, Food Paradise, and named one of the top 100 barbecue restaurants in America. The search is over. Dead End Barbecue is located on 3621 Sutherland Avenue right here in Knoxville. You can even have it delivered right to your door through Chow Now. Visit their website at deadendbbq.com. Dead End Barbecue. The search is over.
Out-of-town law firms have been swarming into East Tennessee lately. From Memphis, Chattanooga, and Birmingham, they've stormed into the area. Wouldn't you rather do business with a local firm? You know, a true neighbor. Marcos Garza and the pros at the Garza Law Firm are just that. There are neighbors and friends that support local causes year-round. The Garza Law Firm works to serve you professionally on criminal matters, injuries and accident matters, and Social Security and disability filings. The Garza Law Firm is here for you at garzalaw.com. The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Guys, don't live with tiredness or low energy. Get your life back with low testosterone therapy at Low T Center. Take the test, get fast results, and start TRT with Knoxville's leading experts in men's health. Now it's easier than ever with the new Synergen X Health app, an innovation in healthcare technology you won't find anywhere else. Download now or book an appointment while the test is still free at fixmylowt.com. Fixmylowt.com.
Just because you can't call in doesn't mean that you have to sit on the sideline. Impact the show with a text box. It's part of the free Swain Event app.
Good morning, Swain Event family. Jennifer Morris here with Keller Williams Realty. Summertime is almost here and there's always a lot going on. Trying to fit in a vacation, summer sports, camps, all while trying to buy or sell a home can be overwhelming. If a move is part of your summer plans, let me help you take some of that stress away so you can have a little fun with your family. Just give me a call at 865-694-5904 or reach out on my website, nextmovesmokymountains.com. That's nextmovesmokymountains.com, and go Vols! What's up, Swain Event crew? Jennifer Morris here with Keller Williams Realty. Fall sports can be a roller coaster ride for us fans. The excitement, drama, and passion will make us crazy sometimes. I can't manage the games, but I can help you manage your real estate needs while you're cheering on the Vols. Reach out at 865-694-5904 or contact me at nextmovesmokymountains.com. That's nextmovesmokymountains.com, and go Vols!
All right, Ben McKee, Mr. Govols 247 himself. What are we looking for in the first couple of days of fall camp? We've been through our fair share. We know what it's going to be. Media gets, I want to say 6 or 7 periods to start, and then we'll see from there. First scrimmage always will have eyeballs on it and ears on it to see who stands out. But the first couple of days, being anything that you're looking for in particular, outside of whether Boo Carter is going to be there or not.
I mean, all the newcomers is the easy answer, but I've very much reached the point now that I've covered multiple fall camps that I care far more about what's happening when the pads come on than what's happening before the pads come on.
Yeah, me too.
What's that?
Me too.
So, but I mean, there will still be certainly things to pay attention to. I'm more concerned about the receiver position than I am the quarterback position, quite frankly. Even though the quarterback position is a more important position, it's arguably the most important position in all of sports. We know that, but I think I like the personnel at quarterback more than I do receiver. And now I do like the group of receivers. I think there's a lot of talent in the room. I just think that the talent may be a year away from truly being a group as a whole that you can rely on. I do think Mike Matthews is going to have a nice season, but who's going to step up and help Mike Matthews and help the quarterback? So I guess that's something that maybe we can see a little bit in shells or shorts, whatever we're calling it, spandex. They're not in shorts. They're
they're
wearing.
They're like football pants. They just
Might as well be underwear. The sliding shorts is what we called them in baseball.
Yeah,
but I don't know. Maybe that's something that we can see without the pads coming on. Is Ken Travis Smith Jr., Radarius Jackson, any of those young guys? Where's Braylon Staley at? Like I think those guys have a lot of potential. I think they're going to be good college players, but are they ready to contribute this year? That's kind of my question with the receiver room, and maybe that's something that we can see the next couple of days. But just kind of the pecking order, I think the tight ends are going to need to have a big impact this year to help that receiver room. I think Miles Kitselman, Ethan Davis, maybe some of the young tight ends can help take some of the pressure off of that receiver room. And just kind of the pecking order. Where's everybody lining up? I know you said aside from if Boo Carter is out there, but there are storylines galore in the secondary. Where's Jermod McCoy? Who with Jermod sideline and being cautious and slow coming back, like who's stepping up next to Ricky Gibson? Where's Colton Hood? He's probably the guy that I will look for first because I think that's going to be a sneaky good addition for Tennessee. I think he's kind of flown under the radar because he was at Colorado and didn't play much, but it seems to be a really nice football player, and Tennessee needs to have a huge season. I think he's one of the most important players for Tennessee this season, given the question marks with Jermod McCoy, Boo Carter, who's going to be available, who's going to be out there. So I guess in a roundabout way to answer your question, I think I'll be looking at the secondary first, at least on the defensive side, to just kind of see what the pecking order is, and with some of those guys not being available, who's stepping up and trying to fill those shoes.
Ben, did you just say that you're more concerned with the receivers than the quarterback position?
Yes, from a personnel standpoint. I trust Joey Aguilar more than I trust Tennessee's second receiver. And Mike Matthews even has a lot to prove this season. And I say that, again, with the understanding of how important the quarterback position is. I realize that. But just in terms of the pieces that you have, I think that I like Joey Aguilar more than I like what's behind Mike Matthews.
Listen, I understand the concerns with the receiver position, but playing quarterback is way more harder than playing receiver. And, like, you got a ton of options at receiver. Like, hey, man, if Brazzell doesn't step it up, then you can go to young dude. Like, you got options. You got limited options at quarterback to where it's either experienced Joey Aguilar or never played before freshman. And that's just, to me, that's scary.
Oh, it's scary. There ain't no doubt about that.
It's scary until it's not, right? I mean, we never know. One of the freshmen can go out there and ball out. But, like, it's a reason why, Joey's here. I think it's a reason why everyone is saying Joey's going to be the starter, even though Merklinger has had a spring and a fall camp to have the advantage and hold off Joey Aguilar. But, folks are talking about Joey as a starter for a reason. And so those young freshman quarterback have a chance to prove people wrong and beat out Joey. But, like, we didn't have to get past the game but we were still able to manage because of the offense and our running scheme, and was able to piece it together. I mean, both of them are concerning, but I mean, you have confidence in Josh Heupel. He's an offensive guy, and I know he's going to feel challenged this year to prove that he can have productive offense, and the defense doesn't have to bail him out. So, like, I'm looking forward to seeing him kind of reinvent some of this passing game that I think we're going to see. But, man, that quarterback situation, to me, it's more scary than receiver situation.
In terms of you mentioned the options back there. If we can try to set aside the importance of the position and just look at,
it's hard, man.
I realize that,
but you mentioned having more options at receiver. Isn't it fair to look at those young receivers the same way we look at George McIntyre and Jake Merklinger? I mean, those are the same inexperienced options that's at the quarterback position.
Well, they don't have the same responsibility.
Yes, which is where I see it's obviously hard to separate the importance of the position, like I asked, but I just don't see the options that you see. Like, yes, there is less responsibility, obviously, but there's inexperience at the receiver position behind Mike Matthews, just like there is at the quarterback position. Like Chris Brazzell, like I'm not counting on Chris Brazzell to have a big year. He's going to have to prove it to me, and I'm in the camp of I'll believe it when I see it with Chris Brazzell. So, like, outside of Chris Brazzell, I mean, who else is a proven option other than Mike Matthews?
So, proven? No, there's no one proven. There's no one proven at receiver. No one. Okay. But if Brazzell doesn't get it done, you can put Travis Smith in there. You can put Radarius Jackson in there. You can put the true freshman Joakim Dotson in there. Like, there's options, and all you're doing is telling them to run a route and go catch the ball. Because on run plays, they don't even have to do anything, Ben. But a freshman quarterback, you're telling them to line up in the backfield, and there's 11 dudes on defense looking at you, and there's 10 dudes on offense looking at you, and while you're trying to process information as quick as possible, you have a rush that's coming at you, and you got about 3 seconds to throw the ball at max. And then you have to be confident enough to stay in that pocket as a right-handed quarterback and know that Lance Hurd is doing his job. And you have to have this internal clock in the pocket to not hold the ball too long. Like, do you remember that Oklahoma game? Poor Nico in that Oklahoma game? You put a true freshman back there and against that Oklahoma defensive line, which we about to see this year. Cole Kublik says the best in the league. Mason, old boy Mason, I thought he went to the league. I mean, why are you coming back? Why you want to pick on the college kids? He should be a first rounder. But he had like 5 sacks against us. He back. I feel more comfortable playing a freshman receiver, man, on the outside than a freshman quarterback with
1,000%.
With that responsibility. That's all I'm saying. It's just harder.
I agree with that.
It's harder for the quarterback. It's just harder.
It is, but I'm also not expecting a freshman quarterback to win the job. I'm expecting
don't have to
Joey.
Win. Joey can get hurt
for sure, but we're saying this in this alternate world where everybody's healthy the entire season, and I expect Joey to win the job, be the starting quarterback, and quite frankly, I think Heupel and Halsley will have Aguilar coached up better than the receivers have been coached up or will be coached up.
Yourself. Every year, the quarterback has gotten hurt.
Yeah, I know that. But so am I on July 29th supposed to sit here and say, okay, Jake Merklinger is going to start 4 games because Joey Aguilar is going to break his thumb in game. Like I don't have any way to know that. Like I'm aware that injuries are likely to happen, but I can't when analyzing things. I can't talk as if they are going to happen, even if I know it's very likely to.
Well, I mean, based on recent history, it's more likely that we're going to see two quarterbacks play than just one because Nico got hurt, Hendon got hurt, Joe got hurt, and so will this be the year 5, where only one quarterback plays? And I'm not talking about blowout games, but one quarterback plays, survives without getting hurt, without another guy coming in. Like I don't know. Like if I were to put my money on it, I would say no based on recent history. So that's why I'm saying like I feel better about young dudes at receiver that could really not even do anything in the running game, and sometimes in a passing game, not even part of the read, than a quarterback that has more responsibility. That's all I'm saying.
I hear you, and I definitely agree. I have more trust in the young receivers to make plays than I do Jake Merklinger or George McIntyre. But until injuries take place, like I'm going to give my analysis without the injuries.
Yeah, I got you. That makes sense. 865-255-03.
What are you looking forward to in fall camp? Where are your eyes going to go?
Oh man,
where are you going to be keeping?
I'm glad you asked, Ben. One thing we can see without pads is how Edris Farouk moves in space. We heard about him being able to hit in the running game and being physical, fill the alley. You're not going to be filling the alleys and hitting folks without pads, but there will be 7-on-7. There will be one-on-ones versus slot receivers versus tight ends. There will be periods where his range is going to be questioned because that's what's going to keep him off the field. You lost Jacoby Thomas to Miami. He transferred. He was going to be a starter. Farouk slides in. The question is, can Farouk show range in the passing game? That's something that I think you'll be able to see day one. Colton Hood, where's he going to play? How versatile is he? And then, of course, man, the young receivers, see how they do. And when you have the first day of practice and you just got a helmet, no pads, it's really about those perimeter players because you're not hitting.
I do want to see Lance Hurd. Sounds like he's gotten into good shape. If there is a player in the trenches that would be worth seeing out of pads, I mean, maybe it's him, seeing how nimble he is moving around. I'm excited to see David Sanders Jr. As well, just given how highly ranked of a recruit he was. I'm excited to see Ethan Davis. I'll be curious to hear your thoughts on
big
this.
year for him.
I'm sure you'll disagree with my thought, but I think I know you don't have to try. You do it every time. But I think the two guys on offense that have the most pressure on them, I think it's 1A, 1B. That's why I say 2. I think Ethan Davis and Chris Brazzell have the most pressure on them on the offensive side of the ball. I guess technically you could say the quarterback position because of the nature of the quarterback position. But in terms of their standing on the depth chart, I think Ethan Davis and Chris Brazzell have to have a strong fall camp to help their standing on the depth chart because there are a lot of young guys behind them that are coming. I like the Desan Brames and Jack Van Dorsaliers at tight end behind Ethan Davis, maybe Cole Harrison in year 2 at receiver. I do really like all the young receivers. So like if Ethan Davis and Chris Brazzell do not have a strong fall camp, then there's some young guys at both of those positions that could absolutely take some reps from them.
I do think there's pressure on Ethan Davis. I don't think he's going to be the starter over Miles Kittelman. But I do think this is an important time for him because Kittelman is going to be out. with the with the surgery and the rehab, like you're not pushing Kitzelman to get back in fall camp. This is a staff that's been really, really protective over injured players. We saw last year half of the receiver group didn't even do anything. It was scrimmages because you were protecting them. And so no reason to believe that Kitzelman won't have that same experience. So it's really Ethan Davis leading the young tight ends in fall camp, showing and displaying really good habits. But I got a player that's under more pressure than Ethan Davis, though, offensively.
Joey Aguilar.
No, non-quarterback, because I think it's given that the quarterback has the most pressure. William Satterwhite.
Got to win the job.
Well, that sounds like pressure to me, Ben.
Yeah.
Because if you don't win the job, we're looking at maybe moving a dude that's probably in his natural position of playing guard and Sam Pillington, maybe moving him to center. Like, if you don't do your job and win the job, you mess up the whole offensive line. Maybe we have to piece guys in certain positions. I think it has a ripple effect on the offensive line if William Satterwhite is not the player that they need him to be. So
Yeah,
he's
I
under
agree.
the most pressure. I think he's under pressure more than anybody besides the quarterback. Think about this offense.
Yeah.
Think about how important the center position is and how important Cooper Mays was for this offense the last couple of years. So I got him up there.
Where do you rank Lance Hurd in the pecking order of most pressure on offense?
Right under Satterwhite.
Because of the nature of the position and how much money was committed to him?
Yes, that's given. But he has to be like, he was the 5-star coming in, but you can't let David Sanders be better than you day one. And you got to be a good example for David Sanders. Like, you can't be a player that the staff is concerned about not doing their job. Because you should feel good about Wendell Moy, his experience. You should feel good about Sam Pillington, what he did in Notre Dame. There's a question about center. You don't want to have questions about a second-year player who was a 5-star out of high school. Like, you don't want to have questions about Lance Hurd because you're already going to have questions about David Sanders, whether or not he is ready day one. Not if he's talented, there's no questions there, but there's going to be growing pains, and you're going to have to work with those growing pains. Now, I hope David Sanders comes in and he is Aaron Sears and Trey Smith day one. But even Donnell Wright had a little bit of growing pains as a freshman, or Wanye Morris as a freshman. Like, they didn't come in and dominate and produce the same way Aaron Sears and Trey Smith did as 5-star players. So, yeah, I would say Lance Hurd as well. But
who would you say on defense? I went the entire edge rusher position. I think there's pressure on Joshua Josephs to finally truly live up to his potential. He's had a solid career to this point, but he's not been the guy that a lot of us thought he would be when he got to Tennessee. Neither has Caleb Herring. I mean, you're going into year 3 now, bro. Like, are you going to be a player, or are you just going to be another dude? And Jordan Ross, where's he at injury-wise? Of course, he's a bit younger. He's got some more time, but I feel like Tennessee needs a presence from him this year to help out with the pass rush.
I wouldn't put anybody on the front on my list right now.
I would, just because I think Tennessee needs to get home more than it did a season ago.
You're right. You do. But like today, I wouldn't put those guys high on my list in terms of pressure. But I am going to linebacker.
Helander and Carter, or just
I will go both of them. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm going both of them because, and then I also will go with Edwin Spillman too, because this is year 3 coming up, and he was brought in to bring the athleticism, to bring the length, to bring the range, and now it's time for him to be a serious part of the rotation. So the linebacker group, to me as a whole, I would put tons of pressure under, because there were some times last year where they were the weakest link because it wasn't defensive line. And you saw what Jamal McCoy did, and you saw Ricky Gibson hold his own. I mean, you can make the case that Tennessee had a top 3 cornerback duo in the league.
Go watch the Georgia game. That's all you need to back up your point. Go watch the Georgia game and how Carson Beck and Georgia's offense attacked Tennessee's linebackers in coverage. Now, the defensive line did not do
they
the
didn't make
last
it easy.
3 quarters.
Yeah, they were
but
terrible.
they were very disruptive the first quarter and kind of had Georgia's offense on its toes, looking like they did at Ole Miss the week prior. And then Georgia's offense realized that, let's just attack the linebackers and we'll be good to go. And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
I'd like to see Andre Turrentine.
I agree with your points, Ben.
Miracles do happen.
No, ain't no miracle.
God is good.
No, ain't no miracle. Man.
I need the safeties to step up as well. I loved Will Brooks last year. He had a phenomenal season, but I don't know. That just still feels like a weakness within this Tim Banks era defense, and kind of looking at, okay, who's going to be back there this year? I need more from Andre Turrentine, especially as a veteran. Maybe he can have a veteran type impact like Brian Randolph did at the end of his career, or Jalen McCullough was able to do at times at the end of his career, or Theo Jackson's another one that really came on his final year. I need Turrentine to take a step forward. There were too many times last year where poor angles, a step slow, a missed tackle. That can't happen, especially now that you're the guy back there. And then also you touched on it earlier with Farouk, like who's going to step up next to him? That safety position, probably the position on defense I'm concerned with most. I mean, right, I think it'd be fair to also say corner, given the question marks with, okay, when is Jamal McCoy back? When is what's happening with Boo? But like I said earlier, I love Ricky Gibson, and I think Colton Hood's going to be a great addition. So that I think you have options. You need Turrentine to take a step forward, and you need some young guys to step up next to him in order to get solid production at safety.
All right, I'm going to hit this text box, Ben, before we wrap up today's program, and get ready for some Tennessee football. Tennessee football, y'all. 931 Vol says, does Coach use Miles Kittelman as a decoy and get Ethan Davis the ball somehow this season? I mean, I'm sure teams are zeroing in on Miles. He's going to be a star regardless. Yeah, that's not how it works. I mean, there may be a play where a player's a decoy, but y'all, Kittelman was a starter last year. Kittelman came in and was the best tight end when folks didn't think he was going to be. So there may be some formations, and it depends on the receivers, that you use 2 tight ends. We had to use more 2 tight ends last year than any other year in Josh Heupel because the receivers were what they were, and so Ethan Davis. I don't know if we've drawn up plays for Ethan Davis yet. Ethan Davis has to prove that he can be consistent in fall camp, and then when he's out there and there's a matchup that favors him, then okay, we'll design some stuff to get him loose and get him the football. But yeah, it just doesn't work like that, where you're just using a player as a decoy, unless we're talking like on a specific play. Nathaniel says, aside from Kittelman, Star Thomas, and the 2 guard transfers were brought in, I don't think this offense has many experienced guys at the Power 4 level at all. Very inexperienced offense this season, or at least a lot of guys taking on much bigger roles. Yeah, we're talking about guys with pressure on them. I don't see Star Thomas having pressure on him. He's 3rd string right now. Yeah, I mean, he brings depth.
Maybe individual pressure because it's a money year for him in terms of maybe getting a shot at the next level. But in terms of Tennessee success and pecking order on the running back, I mean, I don't know that there's more individual success to gain for him than team success, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
because he's an older guy.
If we're saying Star Thomas has pressure, then we've lowered the bar, and everyone is under pressure there. Because we're talking about a 3rd string back at this point.
Do you think he's going to be like a true 3rd string back though? I kind of have more high hopes than that for him. Do you think that it's more likely that Deshaun Bishop is the guy or that it's running back by committee. I've operated this offseason with the thought it was going to be more by committee, but maybe I need to adjust my thinking.
Today there's going to be individual periods, and two running backs can't play at the same time. There's going to be a guy who goes first. There's going to be a guy that goes second. There's going to be a guy that goes third. In the games, there's going to be a guy that gets the first reps. There's going to be a guy that gets the second reps, and there's going to be a guy that gets third reps. Star Thomas will be getting the third reps as of today. Therefore, he is the third running back.
But do you think it's going to be similar to Jerry Max last year in 2023, the Joe Milton season, to where like it was pretty even with Jabari Small and Jalen Wright and Dylan Sampson, and they kind of went out of their way to divvy up the reps equally? Yes, I understand what you're saying, but do you think like the wealth will be spread around any?
I think it depends on the player. I mean, understand Darrell Sims. He pulled Dylan Sampson. You put the ball on the ground, so. He pulled him. Like, he holding everybody accountable. He has said, if you have the hot hand, we're going to roll with the hot hand. So it just depends. I mean, there was a game where Deshaun Bishop was really good. I mean, I think it was the Oklahoma game. He was really good. So whoever has a hot hand, whoever's protecting the football, whoever's doing a good job in that pass pro, the best in that particular game, I think, will get more reps than the others. But I know without a shadow of a doubt that Peyton Lewis and Deshaun Bishop are 1A, 1B, and Star Thomas is next. And then we'll see what happens in fall camp. And can guys stay healthy? Can guys be consistent? And that's what it's going to come down to.
I am excited to see where DeJuan Morris is. I'm excited to see what fall camp DeJuan Morris has. I'm not going to say where he falls in the pecking order, but I'm excited to see if he's a guy that could maybe sneak a carry or two away from the others.
Oh, yeah. Young players, new players. You know how we roll, man. All eyeballs on them. All right, Ben McKee, I'm going to see you at practice tomorrow.
I'm looking forward to seeing your face just as much as I'm always looking forward to hearing about how other members of the Swain Event family utilize Jennifer Morris for all of their real estate needs. She is the absolute best in the Knoxville area in East Tennessee. So if you're looking to move to Knoxville or looking to accomplish anything in real estate, Jennifer Morris can help you do so. And I encourage you to reach out to the GOAT herself.
Much love to everybody. Thank you for the birthday wishes. I really appreciate that. We'll be back on Thursday. Check out my guys at Alpha Wildlife. If you are having some issues with wildlife in your home or outside your home, Tennessee veterans or Tennessee fans who are veteran-owned over there at alphawildlife.com. Serving Tennessee, parts of South Carolina. That is alphawildlife.com. For Ben McKee, I am Jason Swain here in the Low T Center studio. But hope everyone has a fabulous Tuesday. Peace and much love. We are out. Bye, Ben.